Artificial intelligence is here to help you sin faster. Here's what I mean. First of all, if you step back and look at history, the television, when it was created, it had a channel. And then as competition emerged, there was 2 channels. And so you could choose between one channel and the next. Now, eventually somebody invented the remote control. And from that, we instantly saw what would begin to happen to human nature. So with the remote control, there became this advent of, now I have the power to choose that which I want to see, and I can choose that power quickly. And we all are very familiar with the scenario of flip, 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 flip. So with the power of the remote control came the capacity to be less tolerant, less patient, less content with the ideologies being fed to me, and there became less satisfaction in general, and with less satisfaction, the hunger goes up, and so there is now longer duration. We all know this. And it is very self-centric. And what I mean by that is if you have 2 people sitting in a room watching television, and one of them has the remote, the other entity, the other person can get very troubled and upset in a very short amount of time by how much the person in charge of the remote control is clicking through the channels. Like, why did you click past that? I really enjoyed that. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see what was going to happen to the frog. And the person with the remote was like, that doesn't interest me. It's nothing, blah, blah, blah. And they keep flipping and keep flipping. And every time the second entity is really interested in something, maybe the first person with the remote is not interested in this. And so you can see it becomes very self-centric. Now, thankfully, some human beings can sit together and watch programs together. I don't know. I haven't watched television roughly in about 12 years. So along with this, eventually, there came the idea of YouTube, which is most likely what you're watching this video upon. Now, I want you to think about YouTube and how it has advanced past the channel flipping. Now, because of YouTube and the algorithms, there is suggestions that pop up, and these suggestions are numerous. There's some right here on the screen where my face is, and then there's some here to the right of your monitor, and then there's some at the bottom of your monitor. And all these suggestions are popping up, but this is old thinking, and you're seeing the adaptation process. But let's just go over the process for just a second. First of all, there are multiple options, and with all of these options come personal evaluation, and then with evaluation there comes to the point of decision making. Do I want to watch the video or do I want to watch that video? And we get faster and faster at this, and the problem that's increasing though is it keeps pushing our likes up 2 at a time, that we're like, I kind of like that and I kind of like that. Which one do I choose? And then there is the actual engagement of deciding. Now, artificial intelligence is bypassing all that. Artificial intelligence is taking what you have viewed and what people that have your personality type, that have watched the same kind of things, and it's feeding in constantly this new data of what you probably will like to watch, and it is totally taking your evaluation, your decision making, your options, and it's kind of tossing that out of the window and just feeding you what your preference most likely will be in rapid fashion, in faster fashion than has ever happened before. You can see this with YouTube Shorts and the way one video just goes to the next endlessly, the same kind of view of TikTok. There is no downtime, but to keep you satisfied, they're using artificial intelligence processing data to feed you, to feed the beast. Now, is this good or bad? This is horrible, because with the sinful flesh, we usually are ingesting things that are not good for us, especially if, we can kind of do this privately. Like I got my phone and I'm over here sitting by myself. I can watch whatever I want to. I put in my headphones and nobody knows what I'm watching. If they come by, I just kind of flip to an app, etc. Or if I'm in the privacy of my own room at the house, or etc. If I'm at the office and I'm just, I got some downtime, I can watch whatever I want to watch. And this algorithm keeps up with these kind of things, and it begins to feed us sickly thoughts. So if you're viewing is kind of sexual in nature, then it can send you a lot of pseudo-sexual items, or maybe flat-out sexual items. Or it can endlessly feed you things that you're coveting about. Maybe you like larger homes, and so it begins to feed you all this idolatry and coveting of these homes. Or maybe you're worried about the end of the world and it begins to feed that quickly, and then it can feed you shock value or fascination or greed or gossip or gore. This artificial intelligence can force feed you stuff, and it's an endless stream. Now, the way human nature works and the way sin works, sin is beneficial in one dimension only. And you'll think that's funny, me as a Christian telling you that sin is beneficial, but the Bible even says sin is fun for a season. So we're going to give it one-dimensional credit. The reason that one of the main reasons, or let's say a reason, I don't want to say a main reason because God's holy, but one of the predominant calculations you should take when you're considering sin is it is positive in one area, and it's usually negative in 3 to 5 areas, if not 6 to 10 or 1,000 areas, or infinitely negative. But just to keep it simple, let's say it's it's positive 1 minus 5 for your life. It's beneficial in one area, but it will be negative in 5 other areas of your life. And we also know that because it is an increased waste of time, especially when you're dealing with, viewing things back to back, that because you've wasted time, you begin to feel guilty. And because you feel guilty, now you're searching more for something to fill you. And since YouTube is bringing you a +1, it's something. And so feed it to me, and feed it to me quickly. I can take a lot of +1s as long as I'm not thinking about the -5s that are beginning to stack up. And so there's this, human nature has this increased appetite for sin because the rest of life is beginning to be so bleak and so negative, we are kind of avoiding it, and we only see the +1s. And so we're chasing this +1 scenario and running for our life, and we don't even realize it. Now, the things of God are exactly the opposite. Usually, when God asks you to do something, it's a -1. I want you to take that sin out of your life, -1. And He gives +5. Your life will be better in 5 areas, or 10 areas, or 100 areas, or infinitely better. But let's just keep it simple. It's usually a -1. Cut that activity out. I will replace it 5-fold with better activities. And we just don't see it like that. So when artificial intelligence is force feeding us this information, it's because, we have created a hole, and we're digging a hole so fast that we're just clinging on to any kind of satisfaction and sensation that it can pour into us. And as I've said, it is doing so in rapid fire fashion because it knows typical human nature. It sees the other holes that humans are digging, and so it will begin to force feed you the same sort of sin. Now, if one sin caused Moses to miss going into the promised land, if one sin cost David his son's life, if one sin cost Achan his life and his family's life, then what are these fast-forwarded sins going to cost us?